things that's important for us as human beings, as people, is to make sure we don't stay where we are. Make sure you don't stay where you are. And to make that change, there are 3 things you need to do. And I hope that you'll be taking notes, because a lot of times you listen, and when you go back, it's useful to reflect, to look at what you've put down. 1, decide on where you want to be, where you want to get to. So if you want to climb a mountain, don't start by looking at the base of the mountain. Start by looking at the summit. So look and decide where you want to get to. And then you look again, number 2, and take a good, honest, brutal, hard, candid look at where you are. Okay? If I want to go from here to Ho, I need to know where Ho is, so I know whether I have to budget 4 hours for the trip, 17 hours for the trip. So you look where you want to get to, you look where you are, and then you start planning. Okay? And when you look at the Springboard theme, we're looking at technology as a driver for positive change. And I think all those who've spoken before me have done a great job of talking about how technology has brought transformation. Now, what I'm going to do is, let me tell you, I'm breaking this up in 3 main parts. First, let's talk about technology. Second, let's talk about how you apply it to your own life. And then lastly, let's look at career and how you can use technology to advance your own career options. So technology really is just a tool. That's all it is. And a tool can be used for good or for ill. So when you have a hammer, when you have fire, it's just a tool. That's all. It can be used to either create or to destroy. So technology is a tool in your hands. What you do with it is up to you. You can either use it to advance or use it to regress. And it's important to note one thing. If you don't remember anything that I say this evening, let me tell you one thing you should. There's a difference between education and schooling. Think about it for a second. There's a difference between being educated and being schooled. As for schooling, you can go on. Masters, PhD, it doesn't matter, it's paper. It's school. The important thing is education. You may be educated but not in the classroom. The fact that you hold a degree doesn't mean that every door will open automatic, no. If you can't apply the knowledge you gained in school, all you did was sit in a classroom, you have been schooled, thoroughly schooled. You can't apply. That's why when you look at the continent, we are where we are. Because we are highly schooled people. Professor, doctor, nana, every label, professor, doctor, you go and call him Mr. Hey, you are in trouble. Do you know how I hustled to get the PhD? That's what they'll tell you. But if you are schooled and you can't apply it to bring transformation in your own life, you haven't been educated, you've only been schooled. Does everybody understand the difference? Who wants to be just schooled here? Let me see my hand. You want to be schooled. Who wants to be educated? All right. The whole aim of education, knowledge gaining, coming here is transformation. That's the bottom line. If you remember nothing at all, the whole aim behind education is transformation. That's it. So if you've gone to school and you still can't transform your own life, you are schooled, not educated. And educating yourself means preparing yourself to be transformed. I mentioned technology. Now, the important thing to look at is how do you apply technology to your life, personally? We've talked about the big things, big projects. Let's bring it down. Let's break life up into different categories. This afternoon, Comfort and I had the privilege of speaking at All Nations, and we talked about a number of things, talent and then balance. Balance is important. You as an individual need to have a life that is balanced. Spiritual life, academic, emotional, physical, domestic, vocational, financial. Every area of your life should be in sync. Now let's look at technology. It's a tool. It's a hammer. You can either use it to destroy or to build. So when you look at your spiritual life, you ask yourself, how can I use technology to be innovative? How can I use technology to build myself up where my spiritual life is concerned? I remember I used to live in the US, and we had a Bible study group. And this Bible study group, one was in Netherlands. I was in Chicago, one was in Portland, one was in Florida. We were all over, across the Atlantic. But every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m., we had Bible study because we would call each other. That's the use of technology to build up your spiritual life. Skype. You go on Skype, you have a Bible study. Everybody reads the book before the time. We get online and we discuss through Skype. That's the use of technology to build your spiritual life up. You're somewhere, you don't have a physical Bible. Guess what? Go online. You'll find plenty Bibles. Audio. You find some that you can just go and read online. That's the use of technology to build your spiritual life up. Can I get an amen? All right, that means you're still awake. So you want to make sure that you're using technology positively. You're using it to build yourself up spiritually. You've heard a song, and you're wondering, growing up, we used to do, when you had cassette players, you go and then you listen, you stop, then you play, and then you stop, and you write the words, then you rewind, and you go back and forth, and you sing all sorts of things. I think Madonna had a song that said, I'm fascinated by the way. And we used to say, Asantini Wayemobo. We used to sing all sorts of things. Michael Jackson's songs, we actually turn them around. Characteristics of Banku, characteristics of Banku. Meanwhile, too, Michael Jackson hasn't sung about Banku. But you see, this is technology. You've heard a song. You're not too sure about the words, but you like it. You went to church, you heard it, and you found it uplifting. Go online, type in the few words you know. It's amazing what Google can do. You go and you type in a few words, it gives you the lyrics. Hey, bam, you don't have to do rewind, forward. Even now it's easier because you have digital files. But you do that and then you learn the song. So you can use technology to build yourself up spiritually. Let's move to another area. How do you use technology to build yourself up financially? Some people have no personal budget. Let me ask, this is confession time. How many of us here have a personal budget? As in every month, you've sat down, you've written down how much you spend on A, B, C, D. Let me see you by hand. Okay, a few people. 1, 1.5. Some people have done this. That one is half. It doesn't count as 1. I've seen some 1.5 be somewhere. It's important to find how you can take technology and use it in your finance so that you are a student. These days, when we are employing you, we need to screen you, make sure you can use basic tools like Excel. You don't have to wait to go take a course in Excel. You may not own a laptop, no problem. Com centers, there are still a few lurking around the shadows somewhere. You can actually go sit there and figure out how to use Excel, how to put in formula, and how to create your own budget. So that you know that every month I work, I have to tithe. I spend X amount of money. If you start calculating how much money you spend on phone credit, you'll be amazed. You wonder, hey, so I actually had all this money. It's something that chops money quick. Because you call your friend and you'll be talking and talking, not realizing that Android hasn't started yet. And you go, and then you realize your money is finished. So that in your financial life, you're supposed to be a steward. In your financial life, you should be planning, budgeting, figure out how to put in formula. In Excel, that is technology, and you're using it for your personal growth. When I started, I should have said something I didn't say, forgot. One of the things that I try to do whenever I go to any session like this, today I've been sitting here writing notes, even if I've heard something similar before. And anytime you sit in a session like this, tell yourself, I'm not walking away empty. So make sure that as I'm going through, you are applying it. So anything that I say or anything that anybody says, you actually write down one action item, just one thing that you're going to do differently. Do we have a deal? You write just one thing that you're going to do differently. Practical step, not I will start planning in Excel. No timeline, nothing. Or I'll be a better steward of my finances. Put down, when I go home tonight, okay, you'll be tired. Tomorrow, at 4 p.m. sharp, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to start. Putting figures down. You know, we don't collect enough data as a people. Right now, if I ask you for your house address, do you know your house address? It's 17/34/ something. And then, when you have the house address, nobody can trace it. If you give me your house address right now, I won't find my way there. Because we don't gather information, we don't track data. But it's important. So that in your financial life, you're actually measuring how much money comes to me. And then you record every single month. And at the end of the month or at the end of the year, you look back and you realize, hey, I spent a lot of money on entertainment. Personal development, 0. So that's finance. Let me move on. Think of your health. How can you use technology and health? Can I get some adventurous people here? And some of you I may know by name. I just might decide to fish you out of the water. How can you use technology? Can I get a hand where your health is concerned? Can I get a mic for the gentleman right?
Your phone to text a short code of probably a medicine or something.
Okay.
And confirm whether it's really original or fake.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, so you can use it to test the authenticity of drugs. Personally, this is especially for the women. Especially for the women. We have issues. Whether you agree or yes, we have issues. Things change from month to month. And then people walk around and you are moody, you are cranky, and nobody understands. Don't mind them. But you see, one of the things I learned, in the US, there's a lot of preventive health care. You're tracking your own health. So I built a habit of creating an Excel sheet that records everything. Because there are times when you go to the doctor and you tell them, I have an eye problem. And the first time I went to the doctor, he asked me, so when does this happen? Have you noticed any patterns? Every question he asked me, I said, I don't know. So when does this usually happen? I'm not sure. What time of day? I'm not sure. So how long does it last when it's bled? I can't remember, just a few minutes. And then I realized, wow, I need to gather data. So I quickly created an Excel sheet. You can tell by now I'm an Excel fan. Quickly created an Excel sheet and started tracking. So anytime I get that sensation in my eye, I figure out what time of day it is, what's going on, what did I eat right before. So the next time I go to the doctor, I can give him information he can use to help me. Does this make sense? Otherwise, I go and they ask me, I don't know. I don't know. But then I'm using technology to improve my own health. And these days, we are all internet doctors. Your head is paining you, Google, headache. Something is happening to you. Pain in left leg, like pins and needles. You go, you type it in Google, it'll give you something. It doesn't mean you should go and read everything, and then you become the too-known patient. You know, the doctors hate that. You come and sit there, what is wrong with you? Well, I don't think it's malaria. I think it's typhoid because the other day I read that so and so. I ask you, hey, are you a doctor? The doctors can't stand that. When you go, you have to go and tell them, yes, please, whatever you say. But you can use technology to inform yourself, to track your own health, so that you can do a better job of taking care of yourself. Some people have terrible eating habits. And you complain about indigestion. What are you eating? Are you eating oily foods at night? So use technology to improve different areas of your life, including your health. And for the women, like I said, this one is for the women. Did you know that there are times when you may be walking around with whites, candidiasis, And it didn't come from any sugar. That's what we've been told all these years, sugar. It's a breakdown of your immune system. It comes from stress. How many of you knew that? Okay, a few people. 2, 3, 4.5. It comes from stress. You are stressed and your body can't keep up. It's like you running and your body can't keep up and starts breaking down so that your body can't fight any infection anymore. And then you go and they'll give you medication. The answer is in your lifestyle, that's all. And I'm preaching to myself. Just because sometimes you're stressed, you're constantly running around. So your eating habits, your sleeping habits, all those things you need to take care of. You can track it in Excel, on your phone. I don't care where, but use technology. Social life. Use it wisely. This one is for the students. Facebook. The work is there. You got D last week. The previous week you got F. Your name is Frank Darkon, so you think you have spelled your name. Don't spell your name, la. Shoot for the A. Don't sit there and waste your time on Facebook and LinkedIn and this one and that one. It's good, it's a tool, but you have to use it properly. You have to use it properly to meet people, to find people, yes. I remember when I first started using Facebook, I found a friend. The last time I saw him was in 1987 in primary school, just before we went to secondary school. And I discovered that he had been living across the street from me in New Jersey. I never knew. I lived there for 4 years. 2 months before I moved out, I discovered him. I was like, wow, Facebook can work wonders. It doesn't mean you should be so hooked to it that you can't study. When you are dreaming Facebook, you wake up, what's your name? Esther. Everything Facebook, why? So it's important to make sure that you're keeping the balance. Use technology, use it. Find people, learn, meet people, yes, but do it within the right balance. There are so many different areas of your life, and I want to focus for the next maybe 5 minutes on career. So using technology is not just for your spiritual life, your physical life or your health, your social life, but also for your vocational life. You are job hunting. Sometimes, we have a company that does recruitment and training. And sometimes people come and you ask them, so how long have you been job hunting? About 6 months. So what have you been doing? Tell me about your job hunt. I gave my CV to my cousin. And then I gave another CV to a friend who works at Stanbic, who knows somebody's sister who works at. That is unkantity. 19 Kojofefe is gone. You have to start using technology. You're looking for a job. You want to switch your career. Go online and find out what are the opportunities out there. What are the websites where they've listed jobs? What do I need to do? What skills do I need? You don't just assume that, if I give my CV to somebody, they will pass it to somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Those days are gone. The opportunity is right there at your doorstep. You studied something in school, and that's a problem a lot of us have because of our educational system. You wanted to do a Greek, and they said, no, your grades are very good, so go and do science. This one too by force. You are doing the medicine because your father is a doctor and says, this clinic, when I die, is yours. So by force, go and study. How many of you have heard of stuff like that? Have heard. I didn't say it happened to you. Okay. So you are in there, you have no interest in medicine whatsoever. I know people who've gone through training, years and years of training in med school. They come out and they throw it away and they go and find some accounting to do because their heart was always in accounting. But how do you use technology? You go online, you look for opportunities, and you need to start thinking outside of the tunnel, not even the box. This one is a tunnel, one lane tunnel. You are going, when you see the lights come, you can't tell whether it's the break of day or it's an oncoming train. It's important to figure out. You go online and you're learning. You've been given, what's the weirdest combination you can do at the university? Chemistry and Arabic, thank you. You went in and they gave you chemistry and Arabic. And you took it while you didn't have a choice. A lot of people say, I offered. You offered to who? I offered. No, it was given to me by force. Swallow. But you do chemistry and Arabic. In this age, you have to think far ahead. Those who thought about the moon, perhaps you should think of planting a footprint under the sea. But you start thinking, in this world right now, nuclear, we're going nuclear, chemical weapons, anthrax, all these things come up and America is shivering like a water leaf. All Osama had to do was wave, hey, America, I'm coming. And then America was scared. But imagine that you did Arabic and you understand chemistry. You're a chemist or a biochemist. You can look at anthrax and see it. So that when that envelope comes to the post office and they say, this one is like it's powder on it too, you leave it alone. Take it to the lab, you look at it and you realize, this one is anthrax, don't touch. That's your chemistry and your Arabic. There's no career that is useless. You may find yourself in an area where you don't have an interest. You may find yourself in an area where you are wondering, this one, if I graduate, what will I do? There are so many ways of being creative. Going online and learning. When somebody has a degree in biochemistry, what do they do with it? I've met a young man who said he was interested in finding cures and vaccines for cancer and malaria and all those things. I said, wow, that's wonderful. So what are you doing? I'm in medical school. Doesn't make sense. Medical school will train you for clinical practice. You see a patient. You want to do research. You want to poke around and find vaccines, immunology, all those things. You need to go and do biochemistry. But everybody has told you that medicine is the nice and cool thing. So you too, you are going some. You can use technology to inform yourself, to figure out what can I do differently. No matter how weird your combination seems. We sit here in our continent, and then we say, archaeology. Archae who? Archae what? Archaeology. How many of you don't know what archaeology is? It sounds familiar. Hey. There are many people who don't know, but it's okay, you are forgiven. You go to the university and you may be given archaeology and French. And you are wondering, what can I do with this? Go to the Louvre in Paris. You have people who will come to Africa, come and dig up archaeological sites, take our artifacts, take it, put it in the Smithsonian, put it in the Louvre, and then we Africans will march there, then we'll go and pay ticket, and then we'll go and look at our own art. That is nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. So it's very important that you figure out how to use technology to inform yourself and how to use technology to figure out what are the options I have within the constraints I have. I had a slide on here and I won't cover it, but this is supposed to be mental exercise for you, and I'll probably end and leave this on the screen for you. It's just mental exercise. To look at somebody's profile and figure out what can this person do. Somebody who has no money at all, who has natural skills in selling things, has a friend or a cousin who sews very well, and has a friend who has a van that they don't use. How can you do something with this? You learn to partner with other people. You learn to use technology to actually improve your lot. This one is just mental exercise. It's important to figure out what are the different combinations I can come up with. What are some of the things that I haven't thought of? And don't belittle your own beginnings, please. Do not belittle your own humble beginnings. We all started from here. Then they'll mention Mr. Albert Okran, and you think, he started here. He started down here, and he climbed up. So it's very important. Don't belittle your own humble beginnings. Start where you are with what you have. So if there are two things you shouldn't forget today. One, the difference between schooling and education. Two, learn to start where you are with what you have. You want to start a business. But I don't have capital. And in Ghana, if you're doing business, you need capital. Yes, ideally you need capital. But you have this. Start with that. Brain capacity, that's your starting point. Where you can think of it and you have to be creative. Well, do you need an office? I remember when we were in Kumasi, I spoke to a young lady who said she had run into some problems because she wanted to start a restaurant on campus, and she couldn't find space, and she finally found space with somebody, and the person was doing libi laba laba. I asked her, well, why do you need space? There's a restaurant you are working with to provide the food. Why do you need space? You only need a bicycle, that's all. One bicycle and one faithful partner, that's all. What you do is you go online, Google Pages. There are many websites where you can build your own personal site at no cost to you. You build that website, you put your food on there, you put pictures, etc. If you need food, contact me, I'll deliver to your door. You don't need space. What you do is you decide to work with a restaurant, you go there, you pick up the food, they'll give it to you at a lower rate, you pick up the food, and you deliver to people's doorsteps. All you need is a bicycle. When you advance, you get a motor. You advance, you get a pickup. Eventually, you get a van. You have to be creative, especially where career is concerned. Think of technology and how to use it. I'm sure that many of you have questions about career. Here's what I'm going to do. When you go online to the favorite Facebook that you usually go to the Legacy and Legacy page, okay, the fun page. If you have any question with regards to career, go in there and then type it in. I'll take time, make personal time, sit down and answer every single question that you put on there, okay, where career is concerned. So when you get the time, go and then put your questions there. And I'm sure it won't be just me, Kafui and others may go in there and see whatever questions you have, because we don't have time for Q&A right now. If you have any questions about career, what to do, etc., put it on there, and then let's give you a little feedback. But you have to be creative. Be creative. Think, not even outside the box. Think without boundaries. Whether it's a box, it's a circle, oblong, trapezium, it doesn't matter. Just think without boundaries. And make sure that you're using technology to bring transformation in your own life. Remember that if you're striving for excellence, technology is a tool that you can use to strive for excellence. And in all your strivings, if you don't improve your own lot and the lot of the rest of the people around you, you've wasted time. You've been schooled. You haven't been educated. Thank you very much for listening, and then put your questions on Facebook. Thank you.